Rob, welcome to Axel's Garage. Today we're with Baby Mama's IROC and Big Dummy's behind the camera, and we just had a little bit more daylight left today, and I got everything I needed to get done. So we really haven't done a lot with this, but what we have noticed is that she's getting really poor gas mileage. Now the idle seems to be, the high idle seems to be kicking in almost like it wants to be warming up when it's already fully warm. So I think what's going on is the temp sensor, there's two temp sensors. One is a sender and one is a sensor. So this is the sensor. I'll put a link to these parts in the description below, but this tells the computer the engine temperature. The other one, which is, this is like right in the middle of the intake, the other one is in the cylinder head, on the side of the cylinder head, and that is the signal for the gauge. So her gauge is reading low and her engine is acting like it's not fully warming up. So I don't think the engine's communicating with the computer that it's fully warming up. So we're gonna try this one thing at a time. We'll try this and we'll troubleshoot it. We also have I know I said one thing at a time, but we also have a temp gauge, the sending unit for the gauge. The gauge is independent of the engine as far as how the engine runs. So I don't know. We'll see. All right, so I'm just taking the air filters off, and this is your I guess your mass airflow sensor. I'm just going to take this stuff off just so that we can get clear access. I've actually never worked on any of these cars before, Robbie, because back in like high school and stuff, these things were new. So they really were. This is connected by a wire doohickey here. Let's unplug it. We'll unplug it and get this out of the way. Clean, nice and clean. All right, so the temp sender is right over, Robbie, if you go around on the other side. Okay, it's right down underneath this heater hose, and it's screwed into the front of the intake, I guess it is. So I'm just trying to move any of the stuff out of the way, and it has, if you look at the new one, it's screwed in like that, so it's got a little 2-wire plug with a locking mechanism on it. So we got to try to get that little lock off, but I really can't see in there too good. So got the little wire thingy off without even breaking it too, which was nice. With a long extension, that thing was in there tight. Whew. Had to put a longer extension on. I used a little 3/8 breaker bar. Gonna lose a little coolant.
Yeah, I see it. Now, where was that coolant?
Huh?
Where was that coolant?
What do you mean, where was it?
Was it in the engine?
It was in the top of the intake. Alright, so now the new one already it comes with some thread sealer on it. Slide it into the socket. Nope. Gonna go in that deep socket. So I'm gonna get a short socket so that we can thread it on, because there's no way I could get my hand in there. Oh, maybe. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Up.
Up.
Right there.
Right there. Ooh, ooh. I just need to thread it like the first 2 threads. Let's get it started. Got it. Got it. Alright, so I got it like 2 threads. doing is I'm trying to, now it's in there, it's a, you know, pipe fitting. So I'm trying to get it, see? Right there is now, the clip is a lot easier to access if you got to take it off again. And that's all right. All right, so we looking in there. Pretty dirty. Clean that out while we're here. While we got it opened up. All right, so while we got everything apart, mass airflow sensor cleaner went on this way. From what I'm told, you go this way, from the inside of the engine outside like that. There's like a little sensor rod in the middle, and you're just trying to get any crap that's on that off, and then just let it air dry. And then what we're going to do is spray some throttle body cleaner in, because that's pretty gunked up, and that could be the reason why sometimes the idle sticks a little funny. Robbie, so you got to turn the camera off for now, go inside. You know, some carb cleaner on the rag. You just try to get in just to where like the throttle blades, well, as far as you can reach. See, you got stuff like that where the throttle blades sit when they're closed. You get like a little ridge after a while, and sometimes that's, I know, like in the Suburban, that plays games with the idle all the time. All right, so we're good. That's the temperature sensor that tells the computer how warm the car is. That's what that one piece is there that we put in. So now we got to put all this back in. This you got to make sure it's clean so you get a good seal. So what I'll do is I'll take some carbon choke cleaner there. Just clean it off nice. Try to make sure the outside here is clean, because that's got a seal. So now you got your wire. Where's my wire? There's my wire for my mass airflow sensor. That gets plugged back in. This emblem looks like the French flag.
Never seen that emblem.
Yeah, it's the Camaro, like the logo. Alright, so that's nice and tight. Air filters are nice. These are washable air filters. Not too dirty. I gotta look. I think I have the stuff to clean and oil these. I gotta look for it. These are washables. Alright, so I unplugged the gauge temperature sending unit, which is right here, to one wire, but the wire harness that I unplugged has got two spades on it. I'll show you. See, it's got two spades, but there's only one wire going to it. So only one of them is active. But I unplugged it from the temperature sender, and then I turned the ignition on, and the gauge pinned all the way to to 200. So the gauge might. Why are you there?
Oh. Well, you have a minute left.
I think you said I had 15 minutes.
You did.
The
I guess
battery?
it's too cold. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Are you? Where are you showing the camera?
That.
I'm talking.
It's
You're
weird.
a horrible cameraman. You're
weird
so
up-
close to me. Back up a little. So this goes into the side of the head, right here underneath the manifold. We're going to pull the old one out. I got the right size, which is this one, and then we'll see. We'll plug it back in. We'll see if that gauge does something. But with the wire unplugged and the ignition on, the gauge pins. The gauge does have some movement in it. So hopefully this comes out easy, and that was the problem with the gauge reading low all the time. All right, so we got the temperature sensor, right, which tells the computer what the temperature of the vehicle is. Put that in, and that was one aspect. So now we topped it off with fuel, and we're going to see this week. We'll run it for a week, fill it up again, see how many gallons we put in, do the math on the odometer, and to see how many miles per gallon. We're getting like 8. So hopefully that was it. It didn't, the car didn't realize that it was warmed up and it was richening up the mixture, and we're hoping that'll cause it. Now, the gauge reading low all the time. When we unplug the gauge and turn the ignition on, the gauge jumped and pinned out. Put the new temp sending unit in and plugged it back in, turned the car up, and the gauge is still pinned. So the gauge is pinned. It's got to be a wiring problem, I'm thinking, because once I plug it back in, it should at least, I think it goes back down to all the way cold, not all the way hot. 6 o'clock? 6 o'clock. So we topped it off with antifreeze because we did lose some pulling both of those sensors out, and we're going to drive it and see what happens. Gauge troubleshooting, yeah, that's going to come in another video. We're going to have to troubleshoot that gauge and see what's going on with that. But for right now, let's see if our mileage issue gets any better with this sending unit. Otherwise, we have to look a little farther. It seems to be running fine either way, right? It started up good. Big Dummy said it started up good when he went to get gas. So that's it. We'll follow up with it in the next IROC video. Thanks for watching.